So after more than 34,000 Palestinians, women, men, children, have been slaughtered in Gaza, and Israeli bombings have obliterated and decimated entire Palestinian neighbourhoods, does the Minister agree with me that Benjamin Netanyahu should be held to account for his horrific crime?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Monday, the Armed Forces Minister was neither able to confirm nor deny that UK troops may soon be deployed on the ground in the Middle East. Now, the public watching will be hoping that members of this House do not have a short memory when it comes to the potential deployment and involvement of our military in the Middle East. So can I ask the Prime Minister to provide some much-needed clarity? Is he giving active consideration to the deployment of UK forces in the Middle East, yes or no?
Hello, so I don't know if you managed to watch the PMQ, the Prime Minister's questions in the Parliament today, the British Parliament today, but there was a significant moment when SNP leader in the Parliament, Stephen Flynn, he rose to ask a question about the possible involvement of British troops in Gaza. And it was not just a question, but how Rishi Sunak responded, that was quite alarming. Because first, he refused to answer. He refused to elaborate the details. He could have simply denied or confirmed, but he did not do that. He chose to just evade the question by saying that he cannot divulge operational details in the Parliament. First of all, are there any operational details to be shared? So clearly, the reports of the British troops being involved in Gaza in an active war zone are true. Otherwise, why would you not just deny it? And if one place where you should be sharing the operational details and you should be truthful about sharing the operational details, it's the Parliament. But you're not doing that. So that raises a lot of questions. And you have to understand, first of all, just watch this encounter between Stephen Flynn and Rishi Sunak.
SNP leader Stephen Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Monday, the Armed Forces Minister was neither able to confirm nor deny that UK troops may soon be deployed on the ground in the Middle East. Now, the public watching will be hoping that members of this House do not have a short memory when it comes to the potential deployment and involvement of our military in the Middle East. So can I ask the Prime Minister to provide some much-needed clarity? Is he giving active consideration to the deployment of UK forces in the Middle East, yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, you wouldn't expect me to get into any operational planning details, but what I will say is we are absolutely committed to supporting international efforts to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza, which is something I think the whole House would support by land, sea and air. We've obviously tripled our aid commitment, and right now, together with the US, Cyprus and other partners, we're setting up a new temporary pier off the coast of Gaza to get aid in as securely and quickly as possible.
Stephen Flynn.
Mr. Speaker, let's all be in no doubt. Aid is required in Gaza, and it is required because when people are not being bombed, they are starving to death. The solution to that is a ceasefire and the opening of safe ground air routes, not the involvement on the ground of UK military personnel. These are dramatic and potentially dangerous developments. So will the Prime Minister confirm to the House today that before he makes a decision, all members will be afforded a vote?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to apologise for our armed forces playing a leading role in supporting international efforts to get more aid in. And indeed, we are sending Royal Navy support ship, RFA Cardigan Bay, to the region to support that effort. But when he talks about this conflict, the fastest way to end this conflict is to ensure that we have a hostage deal that gets hostages out, aid in, and for there to be a sustainable pause in the fighting. And it seems clear that there now is a workable offer on the table. So I hope he joins with me in encouraging all parties, including Hamas, to accept that deal so we can move towards a sustainable solution.
Now there's a background to it. What's the background? On Monday, this had come for questioning. If you remember, I don't know if you managed to watch it, Labour's Zahra Sultana, who has been very, very vocal about her support for Palestinians and, her opposition to Israeli atrocities. She again rose to ask a question about, Netanyahu possibly being issued an arrest warrant by the International Criminal Court. And this is what she had to say.
Sorry, Sultan.
Mr. Speaker, Israeli media is reporting that the International Criminal Court could be about to issue an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu and other top Israeli officials for the litany of war crimes committed by Israel in Gaza. It is further reported that the United States government is working to prevent justice from being done and to stop the ICC from issuing arrest warrants. So after more than 34,000 Palestinians, women, men, children, have been slaughtered in Gaza, and Israeli bombings have obliterated and decimated entire Palestinian neighbourhoods, does the Minister agree with me that Benjamin Netanyahu should be held to account for his horrific crimes?
Well, Minister, we've got to be careful. The question is quite framed. I'm sure the Minister might want to pick part of that to answer.
Yeah, I regard that as that escape.
As expected, the minister simply chose not to answer her question. But then, her question was followed by another question from Robert Jenrick. Now, Robert Jenrick, if you know, he is a Jewish Conservative MP. He's married to an Israeli-born lawyer. His children are being raised according to Jewish faith, which is absolutely fine. But he has been actively, raising his voice in favor of Israel during the whole crisis. So on that particular day also, on Monday, which was the 29th of April, he rose to ask a question about possible involvement of British troops. So his question was that essentially what he was trying to say, that British troops should not be involved in the aid distribution. If anything, he's quite happy as far as the British troops are involved in eradication, his words, eradication of Hamas. So which side of fence he sits on, you can understand from his question. But nonetheless, he had raised this question on Monday. And this is what the minister had to say.
Robert Jenrick.
This is a terrorist organisation that hates the United Kingdom and everything that we stand for. It would therefore be deeply unwise for the UK to commit British servicemen and women, whether on the ground or on the pier in Gaza. It's for precisely that reason that the White House has categorically ruled this out. Will the Minister take the opportunity to do the same so that we can reassure our constituents that we don't make an inadvertent mistake and British troops continue doing what they should be doing, which is facilitating the complete eradication of Hamas?
I agree entirely with his analysis and his comments about Hamas. Other than that, of course I won't comment on speculation in the media.
Now, what is the background? The background is, if you remember, America is building a makeshift pier off the coast of Gaza to distribute aid. Now, the people are already dying of malnutrition and starvation, but America needs its own time, to build a pier to distribute food. Now, America doesn't want its troops to be involved, even in the aid distribution, primarily because there is a lot of anger against Americans and American troops, and it doesn't want to risk the safety and security of its troops, in Gaza. So what America wants is the involvement of a partner nation, which in this case it has chosen UK, because as you know, the UK government historically has acted as America's poodle. So America has deemed it fit for UK troops to be used even for the aid distribution on the ground. And that is what has prompted the leaders like Stephen Flynn to ask this question in the parliament, to which Rishi Sunak chose not to respond. We are not surprised by that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.